All right, guys, so the hitch on the 4640, when it's all the way up, it leaks. So before I tear that hitch valve assembly off, we're just gonna do a very basic check of the 3-point, make sure the linkage is up to par or in spec, so to speak, and then go from there. But that, you know, on these 3-point hitches of these Deeres, there's a couple, on the big case it's different than the small case, like a 4640 versus a 4440. The 4440 and smaller versus the 4640 and bigger. There's two different methods and kind of 3-point hitch control systems. On the big case, there's pretty much one adjustment. On the smaller ones, you got a couple other adjustments because of how the load sensing is. It's hydraulic on the big case, it's mechanical on the small case. And so on the small case, if you're having some adjustment issues, the hitch isn't quite responding to your lever how you want, or it settles extremely fast, or it's a high pressure leak to sump because a valve isn't closing, or the hitch itself is getting extremely hot. There's a couple different adjustments to go through on them, but on this big case, let's just check the lever adjustment and see if that's in spec or not. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is I put a vice grip on the control shaft. I unhooked the control rod from the cab. When you do this, remember, do not straddle the 3-point hitch. Do not have your head, you know, there's no need to be in here to read your tape measure like that. Just in case something happens, if you push this up and your wrist hits the arm is going to come up, and if it hits your wrist and just kind of makes you go forward, it's going to come up more, and you don't want your head in here to get lifted up, or you don't want your arm in here some funky way to get caught up in there, and you don't want your crotch straddling the quick hitch so it ends up lifting you and, you know, getting you pinched between the hitch and the tire or something, you know, to be safe. But all we need to do is we'll throw a tape measure up here, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this forward until the hitch lifts a little bit, and then I'll stop, let the hitch catch up, and then I'm going to come back until the hitch falls, and I'll stop and let the hitch get cut up, and I'll go forward again. And I'm going to do that several times until I can get a good measurement. I want to be around 3/8 of an inch out at 10 inches, because we're 10 inches from the center of our shaft to the end of the vice grips. This vice grip's a little bit shy of 10 inches, but we can figure it out. We can fudge a little bit. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. Let's give it a try. Okay, so you can see we were well within, or maybe you couldn't read the tape measure that well, but it was well within spec. So now, well, the hard part about diagnosing is, one, you got to get the fail to appear to be able to chase it around. And so this morning I'm having a hard time for the fail to appear. I can hear a high pressure leak to sump somewhere back here, but this morning it is not doing it. And so that's the joys of diagnostics and mechanics. If anybody's ever taken anything to the dealership, yep, there's times that guy can spend 10 hours chasing something before he even gets onto your bill to get going. So sometimes the diagnostics You'd be amazed sometimes how much the dealer eats on diagnostic stuff. Just a quick plug in for the other technicians out there that you know, they're most of the guys, you know, you'd like to think they're doing their best. So we're gonna go off to number 2 here and try another test or inspection spot, see if I can't find the leak. All right, so this hole is another port. It's right under the 3-point valve housing. You can see oil right off to the right there falling. Just pouring out pretty good. That's oil that should be going either back to filter or into our hydraulic capacity on our outlets. That should not be falling right there. So that kind of confirms, I can see it's got some foaminess. So it's going to be high pressure because it's coming out of our 3-point valve. So that kind of confirms that we got to pull that valve assembly off. This whole monkey mess back here has to come off. Ah, yeah. All right, so with seeing the leak down underneath there, that means this hitch assembly the hitch valve assembly has to come off. So we got a pipe, a couple of hoses here, our draft control linkage up there, our height control linkage back here, this SCV rod, the SCV itself, the junction block for Power Beyond. Well, there's a lot to take off, but it ain't too terrible. We pressure wash the tractor. I just want to get in there with an air hose, just kind of double squirt everything off with some air and get to getting apart. Well, I got it loose. Now I just got to get it out of there. The top of it was so beat up that I couldn't use a screwdriver, so I just welded a bolt onto a chisel and just got down in there and cut the outsides away. So there's still some of it there. But the nice thing is by the chiseling, by the time you release the head, with any luck, the threads won't be rusted inside the, I don't know if I can do this through the camera or not. So I just gotta take my time. And I will be moving the camera because this just ain't working, but it's loose anyhow. Yeah, you can see it's kind of turning. I can only get a tiny bit of turn with the camera there. So I'm going to put the camera guys down, guys, and get that bolt out of there. I got it. I got it. Man, that was a half hour, 45 minutes of just pure frustration, but it's out and I can keep moving forward. We're off. Time to get that some bitch over to the table and see what we got. So I just popped the cover off.
pull the seat and ball assemblies out. That's our raise and lower valves. And there's just a needle way up in there that pushes that ball off the seat.